The forecast included an early morning tweet storm from the president. He has a lot to say about the Mueller investigation today, including comparing it to McCarthyism and insisting once again that he has done nothing wrong. The president says that the cooperation of his top White House lawyer does not equate to providing bad information about the president.
One of the most powerful figures in Trump world. White House counsel Don McGahn is often visible, but rarely heard in public. But the New York Times reports that McGahn has had plenty to say to Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, with more than 30 hours of voluntary interviews with special counsel investigators since last fall.
My White House counsel, Don McGahn, came back to me.
McGahn's role places him at the scene of key events under scrutiny for potential obstruction of justice, like the firing of former FBI Director James Comey.
I was going to fire Comey. There's no good time to do it, by the way.
And the president's frustrations with Attorney General Sessions.
Therefore, I have recused myself in the matters that deal with the Trump campaign.
Late Saturday, the president tweeted, "I allowed White House counsel Don McGahn to fully cooperate with the special counsel." The Times reports that McGahn and his lawyer initially feared Mr. Trump was setting up Mr. McGahn to take the blame for any possible illegal acts of obstruction. McGahn reportedly provided information about the president's desire to control the investigation, including attempts to fire Mueller himself. The president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, tells NBC News there's no reason to believe he provided anything harmful. Sarah Sanders responded in a statement, "The president and Don have a great relationship. He appreciates all the hard work he's done." Support for McGahn's cooperation came from a former White House counsel who survived the scandal of Watergate. John Dean tweeted, "McGahn is doing right."
And that John Dean reference certainly inspired one of the president's tweets today, where he talks about what he refers to as the failing New York Times and their article. And in that tweet, he says that they make a comparison that Don McGahn giving hours of testimony must be a John Dean type rat, but I allowed him and others to testify. An attorney for Don McGahn also tells me that because the president asserted no privileges, made no attempt to stop McGahn from testifying, that he did so fulsomely and honestly as anyone interacting with a federal investigation should. Willie?
Never a dull Sunday morning for you. Kelly O'Donnell, thank you very much.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.